Paano ba humanap ng magandang kwento? Ang daming nagtatanong sa akin, Buji, paano mo nasasabi na itong story na to ay worth telling to an audience? Sa mga bago dito sa podcast na to, ako nga pala ay isang storyteller. Nagsimula ako sa newspaper and magazines, and eventually, I tell stories on social media. I'm the person behind the cycling platform First Bike Ride, and I am known on TikTok as that guy na laging naglalakad with this bike na nagkikwento. And in this episode, I'll share tips and stories kung paano ba yung process ko as a storyteller. This is Buji Babiera and you are listening to Tambike Session, an anima podcast. This is the first episode of 2024 and before we start with the kwentuhan, gusto ko lang magpasalamat sa lahat ng ating mga listeners na patuloy na nakikinig. Those who have been sharing their thoughts and sharing my podcast episodes, and to those na nakasama ang Tambike Session sa kanilang respective top podcast of the year. Maraming salamat and I hope you continue supporting this pod. And more story times and good conversation soon. Speaking of story time, pag-usapan natin ang storytelling. Since ang dami kong natatanggap na questions about it. Parang how do I choose my stories and how do I find them? These are just a few questions na lagi kong na-encounter from people, from friends, or even from random individuals. Recently, I won the Notable Storyteller Award from the Department of Transportation's National Bike Day Awards and Recognition. It's an honor to be given that award, and personally, nakakatuwa na I get recognized for my work. Mas na-inspire akong magkwento. Pag naisip ko nga, may pinatutunguhan din pala yung pagiging madaldal and curious ko. That was such a fun event last November. And congratulations din pala sa mga kapwa ko nominees na sina Jan of Manila Bike Commuter and Leandro of Visor. And thank you to DOTR's Active Transport Project Office for organizing that event, as well as the city of Iloilo for hosting. It's really an honor being the recipient of that award. To those who are unfamiliar, bata pa lang ako, super kwentista na ako. Let me tell my story kung paano ba ako nagsimula maging isang storyteller, backgrounder bago ako magbigay ng tips, and to answer the questions na sinabi ko kanina. So my relatives would recall na lagi raw akong madaldal sa mga gatherings, reunions. I always share mundane things I experienced when I was a kid. Nung elementary ako, I remember making a mock-up newspaper sa intermediate paper. Sinusulat ko doon yung mga stories ng campus namin o kaya random kwento sa classroom. Hindi ko alam kung bakit ko ginagawa yon, pero siguro parang trip-trip lang. I also remember applying for the campus newspaper that time, pero unfortunately hindi ako natanggap. Kahit writer position, hindi nila ako tinanggap. And of course, malungkot yun para sa akin. As a kid, parang, oh, hindi ba ako worthy na makasama sa publication since it's my dream to tell stories. So, one big disappointment when I was a kid, sabi ko sa sarili ko, dahil nga masama yung loob ko, papatunayan ko sa inyo, I'll be a journalist someday. May ganong narrative. Parang, maghihiganti ako, akala nyo ha. Hindi nyo ako tinanggap. Pero ngayon, pagsisikapan ko at makikita nyo, magiging journalist ako balang araw. So parang may revenge story ako. When I was in high school, natanggap naman ako sa school paper. Pero hindi ako yung naging editor. I was a writer, but that's fine. At least, di ba? Sabi ko, oh, it's a step to becoming a journalist. Parang it's a way na kailangan ko pa rin mag-heal from that childhood disappointment. And during my high school, I remember I was reading so many books. Basa lang talaga ako ng basa. And isa sa mga nag-inspire sa akin maging isang kuwentista ay si Bob Ong. I know yung mga iba kong friends from literature, some of them parang dina-downplay nila yung gawa ni Bob Ong. Pero for me, Bob Ong is a hero. Isa siya sa mga nag-inspire sa akin na maging kuwentista at sabi ko balang araw gusto kong ikuwento ang mga kuwento ng mga kaklase ko. Kasi yun yung ginagawa niya dun sa libro niya. Sa unang libro niya na binasa ko, yung Aba, Nakakabasa Na Pala Ako. O sabi ko, "Oo, parang this is nice. I wanna do something similar 'pag matanda na ako." Going back to my childhood disappointment na kailangan kong i-heal, buo talaga yung loob ko. Sabi ko nung high school, I will enter journalism school. So yun na nga yung nangyari. I entered the journalism program of the University of Santo Tomas. Dun ako nag-college. Parang, uy, eto na 'to. I'll be able to redeem myself. Papunta na ako dun sa path na yun. I learned a lot in journalism school, pero I learned most of my storytelling skill sa school paper. Kinakabahan pa ako, eh, pero finally, akala mo ha, elementary self, hindi ka na makakapunta talaga sa school paper or hindi ka na makakapagdyaryo. Pero ito, college level na. Naging staffer ako ng The Varsitarian, yung official school publication ng University of Santo Tomas. To be honest, eto, kwento lang din. A little bit of disappointment pa rin. Nung una kong application sa Varsity, I applied as a sports writer. But unfortunately, hindi ako nakapasa. Medyo sad din yon. As in, parang sabi ko, eto na naman tayo, hindi na naman nakapasa sa school publication. Pero hindi ako pinanghinaan ng loob. Nagkaroon ng panibagong call for a staffer, pero photojournalist yung position. Sabi ko, "Hindi, kaya ko 'to, may camera ako, gusto ko din naman nagte-take ng photos and it's still storytelling." Baka it's my gate to enter the Varsitarian. Nag-apply ako and fortunately dun nakapasok na ako. After 1 semester, na-promote ako as a sports writer. And at the same time, photojournalist pa din ako. So, concurrent sports writer ako and photographer nung third year college. Tapos, nung last year ko sa UST, naging Circle editor ako. Circle is the lifestyle section of the Varsitarian. So, doon sa Varsity, I learned a lot kung paano humanap ng story, yung discipline sa newsroom, yung ethics of being a journalist. I was exposed to the field. At siguro advantage yung nakuha ko being a varsitarian staffer while being in school na parang paglabas ko into the workforce, meron na akong background of how to be in a professional newspaper setup. Kasi kahit sabihin mong student publication yun, very professional yung approach. Pero I would say na napagod ako kasi kinareer ko talaga yung diaryo life when I was a student. So sabi ko pagka-graduate ko, gusto ko ba talaga magdiaryo pa muna o I would like to explore other fields or other areas of storytelling. Sakto nun, nagkaroon ng opening sa Mix Philippines na unang naging employee yung blockmate ko. Sabi niya may opening daw, baka trip kong mag-apply. So sabi ko, "Oh, sige, apply ako diyan sa Mix Philippines." That's the music channel of ABS-CBN. So I applied and natanggap ako as a writer-producer. Dami ko natutunan sa Mix, but perhaps the most notable thing I learned sa music channel is yung pag-angle ng story to cater to a bigger audience. Yung biggest realization ko when I was there is kasi nung pumasok ako, sabi ko, "Ay, gusto kong gumawa ng highbrow content para mas ma-educate yung mga Filipinos about music. Ayoko mag-cater to the taste of the majority, to the taste of the masa. Gusto ko highbrow, ganyan." Pero iba pala yung hinahanap nila. Iba yung iba yung hinahanap ng audience. Sumubok ako, na mag-highbrow content pero walang nanood unfortunately. And nung kinakausap ko yung mga kapwa ko writer, yung head writer namin, yung mga producers, sabi nila na pwede naman gumawa ng substantial na show na hindi nako-compromise yung gusto ng mga audience. And that's where I learned na, oo nga 'no, puwede pala yun. Na puwede mong i-translate yung mga hindi mabababaw, sorry for the word, pero yung mga hindi mabababaw na content na maiintindihan ni Aling Bebang, na maiintindihan ng tindera sa kanto, na maiintindihan ng isang teenager na hindi lang siya nagke-cater sa mga nakakaintindi or sa mga taong mas may higher understanding of, deeper stuff. Sandali lang ako dun sa sa Mix Philippines because I had to be in Aklan to shoot a documentary na dinirect, produce, tsaka sinulat ko. Nagkaroon ako ng grant from the Film Development Council of the Philippines. So, I got into filmmaking too, pero it was short-lived lang din kasi after that film, hindi na ako nakagawa ulit ng pelikula dahil ang mahal gumawa ng film, ang mahal gumawa ng documentary. But the storyteller in me continued. I was a regular contributor of the Philippine Daily Inquirer for more than a decade, writing art stories. Tapos nagsulat din ako sa mga magazines, sa travel magazines in particular, kasi nahilig ako sa traveling. Do'n talaga continuously nahasa yung pagkukuwento ko. I also made videos for a magazine website. Sobrang na-enjoy ko yun, eh. Kasi I get to meet different people, learn so many stories. Nagkaroon din ako ng empathy towards the minorities. I felt like I was giving a voice to the voiceless or doon sa mga taong mahina yung boses at kailangan ma-amplify yung mga stories na gusto nilang sabihin to a wider audience. Maswerte lang din ako kasi yung platforms na meron ako ay malalaki yung reach. Nationwide pa nga, and when the internet boomed, some of my stories reach overseas. Alam niyo parang blessing talaga na napunta ako sa mga or nakapagsulat ako sa mga publications na medyo maganda yung network. Kaya lang nung pandemic, natigil yun lahat. Kasi bawal na mag-travel, tapos wala ng stories na makikita sa field kasi bawal lumabas. Well, meron pa rin sa field pero bawal kasi lumabas. Kaya hindi ako makapunta sa field. And hindi ka puwedeng mag-interact sa tao kasi COVID. I was practically jobless for months. Pero okey lang yun kasi I had time to rethink about my career, about my life, and naging rest na rin yun para sa'kin from years of working. Just like many other people, parang naging pahinga ko siya yung first few months of the pandemic. And eventually, nagkaroon ako ng bagong interest, which is cycling. Sabi ko, aside from cycling, ano pa yung puwede kong pagkaabalahan? Then it hit me. Sabi ko, hindi puwedeng mangalawang yung skill ko as a storyteller. Kasi baka after ilang buwan, bumalik yung trabaho tapos hindi na pala ako marunong magsulat, hindi na pala ako marunong magkuwento. Believe it or not, kinakalawang yung mga skills kapag matagal mo nang hindi nagagawa. And this is not just about storytelling. It can be other skills too. 'Pag matagal kang hindi nag-drawing, puwedeng hindi ka na pala magaling after some time. 'Pag matagal ka nang hindi nagpho-Photoshop, baka after some time parang, nag-upgrade na pala yung Photoshop, di ko na 'to alam gamitin. So, natutunan ko from a friend na dapat patuloy mo lang ginagawa yung ginagawa mo. Kasi baka makalimutan mo siya. At kung magaling ka ngayon, it doesn't mean na magaling ka after 10 years or magaling ka after 5 years. Kaya dapat practice ka lang ng practice. Going back to the storytelling story, naisip ko, bakit kaya hindi ko gawin yung dati kong ginagawa? Kahit hindi na siya paid, kahit ako na lang, para lang hindi lang mag-rust yung skill ko. So that time, I was into cycling at it got into me na baka kaya kong mag-encourage ng more people to ride the bike. And yung way that I can do it is through storytelling. Kasi yun lang din naman yung familiar akong gawin. So I started First Bike Ride. First Bike Ride became my gateway to reaching more audience. Ito yung cycling platform ko na naging venue na rin for my mobility advocacy. It also became my avenue of releasing stress. So, naging habit siya. Daily akong nagpo-produce ng stories. Naalala ko nun, magba-bike ako, hanap ng kwento, tapos kapag may nakita, during the afternoon, mga 4 PM, 5 PM, magsusulat na ako. Nung first year ko, puro mga profiles ng mga taong nami-meet ko sa cycling, tsaka mga taong nami-meet ko on the road yung fini-feature ko. Well, kasama na rin yung mga small businesses and other interesting things na ma-chance-upan ko while cycling. Parang in a span of few months, nagva-viral na rin yung bigla yung mga kwento ko. Tapos rapidly nag-grow yung followers. Then we started doing different things like donation drives, group rides, nag-organize na ako ng group rides or sumasama na ako mag-organize ng group rides. Nag-fe-feature na ako ng hindi lang tao, tsaka mga small businesses, kundi pati mga bigger establishments, tsaka mga events. Nagkakaroon na rin ng mga paid sponsorships, collaborations. From first bike ride social media, nagkaroon na ako ng website. Then eventually, I got into podcasting. Kasi mahilig akong mag-live sa Instagram noon eh. Dahil doon sa mga IG lives ko, na-refer ako to Anima Podcast. And now, I got Tambike Session Podcast as a way to tell stories and have conversations with interesting people. Then eventually, TikTok came. I started producing short videos on this video sharing app. Nung una, mga random videos lang yung ina-upload ko. Tapos napunta ako sa pagkikwento ng mga horror stories. Tapos ngayon nag-explore ako telling non-horror stories. And recently, I just hit 2 million followers on that platform. Medyo mahaba yung kwento ko na yun. But believe it or not, yan lang ay short summary ng aking storyteller variant. Bakit ko ba 'to kinukuwento? Sinasabi ko 'tong history ko kasi ito yung naging foundation kung paano ako magkuwento, kung paano ako maghanap, paano ako naging isang kuwentista. And without all of these stories looking back, parang I think hindi ako makakahanap ng mga storyang na-publish ko if not because at least yung mga recent ones, tsaka yung mga nag-viral, if not because of this, history. So, kaya ko siya kinuwento. And I am really thankful na meron akong platform ngayon where I can just share my own stories and also interesting stories of other people. And hopefully, it will grow more. Now, sa tanong na nilapag ko sa umpisa ng podcast episode na 'to, paano ko ba nakikita yung mga kuwento ko? Naturally, I am a curious person and sumakto lang din na lagi akong gumagala at nagta-travel. Lagi akong lumalabas ng bahay. You see, when you are on a bike or when you are out there walking, lalo na naka-bike kasi madalas naka-bike talaga ako, kitang-kita mo yung paligid mo, eh. Ang bilis huminto tapos mag-check ka ng kung ano yung nangyayari sa paligid mo. That's one way of me getting my stories. Since I am always out on the field, I usually observe while I travel. Malikot yung mata ko, malikot yung utak ko. Tinitingnan ko talaga yung paligid, parang hindi lang ako basta naka-focus sa kalsada. Parang my mind is just roaming around every time I go out. Well, all the time. Ang daming naglilikot sa utak ko. Hindi deliberate na porket lalabas ako, eh, instant merong kwento or 'pag, "Ay lalabas ako kailangan meron akong ma-produce na kwento." I would say na kusa na lang lumalapit yung story sa'kin. May mga araw na lalabas ako ng bahay ta's wala naman akong makikitang story on the road. Wala lang, lalabas lang ako tapos it's just a normal day out. Meron ba akong criteria kung publishable, worthy ba yung story na 'to? Of course. Yung unang-unang criteria ko ay, I will ask myself, gusto ko ba 'tong isulat? Gusto ko ba yung isusulat ko? If it's not a paid article or a paid post or hindi siya trabaho, gagawin ko yung story for free and of course, since kusang loob ko naman siyang isusulat, dapat mae-enjoy ko siyang gawin. Yun yung yun yung qualification ko. Dapat mae-enjoy ko siyang gawin. Since I'm doing it for free or I'm writing it for free, I'm using my time for it, dapat enjoyin ko na siya, 'di ba? Kasi ayoko ipilit yung isang kwento kapag hindi naman ako masayang isulat. Parang mawawala kasi yung essence nun, eh, and makikita talaga dun sa output na hindi ako nag-enjoy nung ginawa ko siya. And like what I said, magko-consume siya ng time ko. So, might as well do something worthwhile. Hindi naman 'to major consideration yung susunod kong sasabihin, but I am also considering my audience. The question that I ask is, will it benefit the people who reads my stuff? Will it be something interesting to them? Hindi naman ako magsusulat para i-please sila. Pero from time to time, I make it a point to consider them kung magugustuhan ba nila yung kwento. Kasi at the end of the day, sila naman yung babasa. Hindi ako nagki-cater sa majority, I believe. But I want to consider kung sino yung magbe-benefit sa story na ilalabas ko. Sayang kasi, eh, kasi gagawa ko ng output tapos magiging missed opportunity siya to be read by many people, eh, di sayang lang din. Another question that people ask me is, paano ba ako naghahanap ng magandang kwento? I always tell them, it really depends on you as a storyteller. And in my case, ang criteria ko talaga diyan is, unang-una, interesting ba 'to para sa akin? Natuwa ba ako nung nakita ko yung kwento or natuwa ba ako nung nalaman ko yung kwento? Naantig ba yung puso ko? Nagkaroon ba ng spark sa damdamin ko when I, heard the story? Will it be interesting for an audience? Will it do good for everyone? Yun yung mga tanong na tinatanong ko para ma-qualify na, oh, maganda ba yung kwento? Puwede ba siyang ikuwento? Pero lagi ko pa rin tinatandaan yung sinasabi ng isa sa pinakapaborito kong storytellers, yung manunulat na National Artist for Literature na si Nick Joaquin. Sabi niya, "There are no bakya stories, only bakya writers." What does it mean? Kung ano ibigay sa yung storya, you'll make it good if you are a good writer. So, parang huwag kang mamimili daw ng kwento. Yun yung lagi kong iniisip kaya I really try my best to find an angle na puwedeng maging publishable for my standards. Pero hindi ko naman pinipilit kung hindi talaga kaya. Sana nga maka-produce pa ako ng ano, eh, ng more interesting stories from topics na sa umpisa akala ko hindi okey, alam mo yun? How do I put it? Parang gusto ko maka-produce ng storya na yung initial reaction ko, "Ay hindi 'to magwo-work." Na na mawo-workout ko siya to be something good na magugustuhan din ng mga readers ko at magugustuhan ko rin eventually. So those are the questions that I usually encounter and are usually asked to me by people. Sana meron kayong natutunan dito sa kuwento ko about my storytelling and to the answers to those questions na binato ko sa inyo. I just want to share this thing sa first episode ng Tambike Session sa taon na 'to because I want to explore more stories beyond bikes, but still relatable for those who ride the bike. And after all, before naman maging biker itong mga nagba-bike na 'to, before ako maging biker, eh, I'm also a human being who can relate to various topics na hindi lang tungkol sa bisikleta. Sana abangan niyo 'yan, sana tangkilikin niyo pa rin yung mga stories na ilalabas ko this year. Very, very excited ako dyan. Maraming salamat sa support and for still being here until now, listening to the conversations and the stories I tell. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, this is Buji Babiera. Magkwentuhan ulit tayo sa susunod na episode ng Tambike Session.